everybody, what's going on?
Man, am I off in the other video again?
Are you off in the other video? Get back in this video. Get back in this video.
This isn't fair.
This isn't fair?
Yeah, hold on. There we go.
Well, I was trying
We changed the camera situation. We don't have it on a tripod anymore. It's now just sticking on the top of the
Yeah, we just clipped
laptop.
it to the laptop, so it's a little bit closer.
We didn't know it would clip on there. We had that thing on a whole fucking...
Which is dumb, because I'm just kind of like...
I'm looking on
of
the
course, because they all kind of do, but we
I'm looking at the bottom of that, and it says, look at that little line running on the bottom of that. It looks like a clip. And I went, oh. And it stuck in there. Yeah.
Much better. Well, because last night we were moving stuff around. And we had it on a bigger tripod. Yeah. And then we were like, well, this tripod situation behind the laptop was not working. So, yeah, this is working out better. Yeah, we're just a little closer to the camera, but that's okay.
Yeah. That's okay. We're closer to the camera. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's why I was like, yeah.
Over in the other video.
In the other video. Yeah.
Always in the other video.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have to back up a little bit. All right.
Got to readjust to the new reality.
Yeah. Oscar said, I saw this on Hulu the other day. It was good, albeit a little aimless. I actually loved this movie. I think all of 3 of Brandon Cronenberg's movies, I've seen them all. And every single one of them is good. I think this might be my favorite one. And actually, I kind of want to rewatch it because I've been thinking about it ever since we watched it. When did we watch it? Thursday night?
Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, it's Brandon Cronenberg.
Yeah,
it's going to be weird. It's
definitely a Cronenberg movie. It's not like his dad. His dad's body horror type. This is a different kind of horror. It's body horror, but I think it's psychological too. It's just weird. And
I guess it's nominally sci-fi, although, I mean, I guess because it kind of has stuff to do with cloning, but it's not really like real science heavy. You know what I mean? Because there is cloning in it, but the parameters and the logistics of the cloning are not really a focus. They're just kind of like hand wavy. Yeah. Because it's really more about like the philosophical implications of the cloning.
I thought it was a quality movie.
Like I said, I thought it was great. I was just riveted from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I loved everything about it. I loved the shot compositions. I loved the score. What a great fucking concept this was. And I mean, and I'm not saying that his other movies, because I loved Possessor, and I really liked Antiviral, which was his first one, and that came out back in 2012, which was also really good. But I think this is my favorite one that he's done so far. And it seems like, I don't know, like I kind of sampled did a sampling of like different reviews of it. Most horror people seem to really like it. A couple of them were just kind of like, oh, it was too weird, or they didn't get it. But most critics seemed like real positive about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know how much we can say about the movie. It's still pretty new. I mean, we can't spoil anything.
I mean, it came out in January, so it's been out for like 6 months. Well, this was actually probably my most anticipated movie of 2023, at least one of the most anticipated. So I was glad that I finally got around to seeing it. But yeah, it's like how much I kind of remember the trailer. And I'm trying to think of, like, what the trailer shows.
Yeah, which is, like, what they want you to kind of know going into it.
Right. And it's, like, you don't really want to spoil it, but I don't know. I kind of feel like other reviewers have, like, said what's kind of going on in the movie.
I can do a quick, like, high testosterone fucking summary of the damn movie.
Oh, my God.
This will suck dudes right into it. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll see some shit like that. Okay. It's about 2 couples on vacation in this other country. It's like an island.
Yeah, it's a fictional country.
It's a fictional island, though. And they got some weird-ass laws there, you know. They consider the laws to be barbaric. Like, if you commit a crime and you get into custody and you're found guilty, that the other family has the right to extract vengeance out on you. You know, if you did something to one of their family members. Well, they go there, and the guy's a writer, and... his wife is a cute, light-skinned chick, and she's got all the money. She's supporting his ass. And they run into another couple who's like a swinger couple. It's kind of a cool older dude with his...
super freaks.
Yeah, his cool older dude with his hot young wife. And the young wife is just laying it on thick, trying to just climb up this fucking... just trying to climb up this author's dick, you know, and she's doing it right in front of the husband. The husband's like, yeah. He didn't really give a shit.
Get it, Mia?
Yeah. You guys have fun. He's like that kind of shit. Well, the two couples go out there partying and they're having a good time and they're riding around in a Cadillac at night in the middle of the night and fucking the writer guy, they were all drinking, all right, but the writer guy was, I guess, the least drunk.
Yeah.
So he decided to drive and they accidentally hit a dude fucking crossing the street in the middle of the night out in the middle of the fucking woods. And they leave the fucking body there and everything, just run. But they catch him, they catch his ass anyway. And they hand him over to the fucking family. All right. The legal system hands him over to the family. And that's really kind of where the weird part of the story begins. Because there's a way out of this shit.
If you have the money.
If you have the money. And that involves cloning.
Yeah.
If you can make a clone of yourself, they can kill the clone and you could walk scot-free.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens. And then those two couples, they had all this money. They start going on fucking getting off on this, of fucking committing crimes and then making their clones pay for it.
Yeah.
That's what the movie's basically about.
Yeah, it's kind of basically exploring that it's like, well, if you had all the money and this was a real thing, like that you could clone somebody and the clone is not like just some brain in a tank or anything like that. It's an actual copy of you that has all your memories and all your emotions and everything. It's just exactly like you.
Yeah, it thinks it's you.
Right. And
it feels like you.
Right. And the fucked up thing too is that, if you pay to get this clone made or whatever and you have to watch them get executed in a real brutal way, you have to watch it. That's like part of the law too. Like,
and your memory of committing the crime gets erased too.
Well, see, I don't know if it was just erased or because I thought that they said that, but then I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe because I didn't know if that kind of like maybe I have to go back and watch it again because I had the closed captioning on and I thought that that's what they said, but then later on I was like, wait a minute, maybe that's not what they said, because I thought that maybe that kind of factored into the story later on as to why these people that had been doing this, I mean, essentially, so like these rich people come to this island knowing that this is the law and they're like, oh, we're gonna go on another murder vacation because they can just like do whatever the fuck they want to and they just pay to have a clone die for them.
Yeah, and then they get off on then they start getting off on watching their clones pay for the fucking crimes.
Right. It's almost super
like,
fucked up.
It's almost like live action snuff of
it is what it is. Yeah,
starring yourself.
Right.
And your girlfriend and your wife and you're all clapping and while they're slitting their throats and shit and fucking, it's weird, man.
What a great fucking concept. I just love the concept.
But they just kind of fucking get more and more evil with this.
Yeah, like their souls are just like completely disintegrated. And the movie is kind of asking that question too, like how, what would that do to a person, like knowing that just watching themselves essentially like get killed like over and over again. I was also wondering,
was the cloning process, the physical cloning process, was it extracting something out of them? Were they getting worse because they were getting more
that's what I
ready?
was wondering too. And it's like
their
maybe
souls out,
right?
And then what ended up happening is that the ones that were being killed was the real them, and the fucking original started to slowly become the clone.
See, yeah, that's another thing because that was another like implication of it.
Yeah, you have to see it a couple times. There may be some hints in there but it's a Cronenberg movie. It takes a couple times to, and I know it's his dad is really kind of fucking set the standard, but it's still, they're in the same universe. Let's just say that these movies are all kind of in the same universe. They're different styles. He's not copying his dad, but you can see it's heavy influence. He's just continuing his dad's work, but his own way. It's good shit, man. I mean, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, I loved everything about this.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me because the lead character, James, who is the writer, he's played by Alexander Skarsgård, and I had forgotten that that's the same dude from The Northman, and it's crazy to me because this is like but this is like a completely opposite character to what he played in The Northman. I mean, in The Northman he was this big bulky badass, and in this he's kind of like, he seems like kind of like a broken man, you know what I mean? He's kind of like, even from the beginning he's just kind of like, I don't want to say pitiful, but he's just kind of like, he's riding on the coattails of his wife. I mean, his wife has all the money. she basically straight up tells everybody right in front of him that she married him because she has daddy issues and because her rich dad didn't like him.
Yeah.
And he's like a bum. So he wrote one book because her dad runs like a publishing company that published the dude's book, right?
Yeah.
And then it got horrible reviews. Like, they were talking about how stupid and pretentious it was. And he hasn't been able to, like, write another one for, like, 6 years. And that was the reason that they went on this vacation, so he could get, like, some inspiration and write another one. But you can tell that his wife is just, like, has absolutely no respect for him whatsoever. Yeah. And he's, like, almost kind of, like, resigned to it. Yeah. Like, he doesn't have a lot of dialogue in this, Alexander Skarsgård, but you can tell, like, just the way...
He's treated like a loser.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, and it's almost kind of like, so Mia Goth's character, who is, you know, the woman half of the crazy swinger couple, she almost, like, sees that in him and is like, oh, we're going to target this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because there's some crazy fucking scenes in this. That one scene where he was, like, where they kind of go out of this compound. Because, like I said, they go to this, it's a fictional country. They actually shot this in Croatia, like, at a resort in Croatia. But it's a fictional country.
Yeah, fictional? You said shittional.
What?
You said fictional? It didn't sound like you said fictional.
Yeah, I said I thought
shittional.
It's shittional.
It's a shittional.
No, I'm pretty sure I said fictional. Yeah, unless
probably.
I'm having a
stroke.
stroke.
I was swallowing at the same time. That you said
okay, so maybe you didn't hear it right. I mean, I'm perfectly willing to think that maybe I said it wrong.
Shittional.
It's situational.
Yeah.
But that's like something situational, but also shitty at the same time. But yeah, so it's like a fictional country, and the implication being, well, I don't even know if it's an implication because they kind of say this outright, but it's like it's got all these like super fancy resorts that all these super wealthy people hang out at, but outside of these compounds, which have like barbed wire and guards and all this other kind of shit, like the country is really, really poor. And so, like, a lot of the residents of this country don't actually like all these fucking wealthy people just showing up and doing whatever the fuck they want to, because they can, because of the law, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's some of that, like, tension going on as well. So it's almost kind of like not only examining James's character and his just, like, maybe his self-loathing getting to a point where he just gets pulled along on this adventure, if you want to call it that. But also there's kind of like a larger implication about these people that are wealthy, and it's just like they can get away with whatever they want, and they're just like running roughshod over everybody, like not in this country, but you know what I mean? Like at this country, like all the locals and stuff. But, you know, they're just murdering people and like breaking into people's houses and stealing their shit and everything. They don't need to, obviously, but it's just kind of like they get so off on being able to do it and not having any consequences, and then and they also seem to be getting kind of almost like a sexual charge out of watching themselves get executed like every time, like it's almost like a big charge for them.
They're clapping and cheering,
right? Like like they're like, ooh, like do a real fucked up one, like it'll get, you know what I mean? So it's almost kind of like, so I feel like Brandon Cronenberg is kind of exploring similar themes to David Cronenberg, but it's slightly different. You know? Yeah. I feel like there's like a slight difference. This is always kind of, and I think I mentioned this on Friday's show when we talked about this a little bit. I said I read like a review of this movie that actually kind of nailed it. They said whereas like David Cronenberg was more worried about bodily disintegration or bodily desecration, whereas Brandon Cronenberg is more worried about like soul desecration. Yeah. Because it's almost like every time this happens, like every time they do this in this movie, they're a little piece of their humanity like is frittered away.
It's good, man. I fucking grew up watching Cronenberg movies. I think the first one I ever saw was the Brood, and I was a kid, and
that's still one of my favorites.
Yeah, man.
I love that movie.
That one was fucking awesome, and scared the shit out of me. And then saw Videodrome, and I saw I've seen I think all David Cronenberg's movies.
I don't think you've seen some of the newer ones. Like, I don't think you've seen, like, Eastern Promises or History of Violence or anything like that.
But then we saw, the last one we saw...
Or Spider.
We saw that one in the theaters.
Crimes of the Future.
Yeah, Crimes of the Future. It's pretty good. Pretty good. But his son, Brandon, he's going to come and he's going to kind of continue that work. I mean, what else could he do? What's he going to do? You're going to make movies and you're going to... What, do children's stories? You know, you're going to make episodes of My Little Pony? What are you going to do if you have the last name Cronenberg? Remember how good Scatters was? Man, I love that one too, man. Yeah. No, you're going to have to do something like your dad. to stay relevant, but you're gonna have to do it your own way, and I think he's doing it.
Well, the thing about it too, I was watching a video earlier, and like the reviewer was kind of like, I think a little bit unfairly, talking about, oh well, why don't all of these? Because she was also comparing like Brandon Cronenberg and David Cronenberg to like Stephen King and Joe Hill, like his son, the novelist. And it's like, oh, why don't they carve out their own identities, or like, instead of doing the same thing that their dad did? But I was like, well, the thing about it is
That's throwing away the fan base.
well, no, it's not just that, but it's like it might like be in their DNA. It's like they have the same DNA, so it's like obviously they're gonna have a lot of similarities in that regard. And it's like it's like. Well, if Joe Hill, for example, like his writing is kind of like Stephen King's writing, but that's his dad, you know what I mean? Like he grew up around, like I said, they share DNA. So it's like it'd be really weird if he came out and like deliberately tried to write something like completely different that wasn't like natural to him. You know what I mean? Like it seems like it's natural for him to write that way, just like it was natural for his dad to write that way. So it's like, why pretend to be something else just because people would be like, oh, it's too much like your dad's. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's kind of like I can see like carving out your own identity, but they're related. It's like it seems, I don't know. It just seems kind of unreasonable to ask them to deliberately go out of their way to be completely different if that's not something that comes naturally to them. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. So it just seemed like a weird criticism. And like I said, the thing about it is that
no, it is. That's a standard bitch ass criticism.
It is. Like I said, I don't know. I just thought that was really
that's dumb.
Unreasonable. I thought it was unreasonable to ask that.
If you've got one author and he's got a fucking really built fan base, and you grew up around him, he's your dad, you understand where he's coming from. You're gonna go, yeah, okay, I can do that too. I'm gonna do it a little bit different, but your fan base will like this one too. What I'm doing, and then you can kind of like, because I'll watch either one of those guys' movies. I think they're good.
Yeah.
Now you're never gonna recapture what it was like back in the '80s to see fucking scanners.
Right.
The world was different back then.
It's all a matter of context.
Yeah, the context. And fucking, in those days, we didn't have access to just instant visual media. You had to go to the movies or see television for that. Now people just walk around with their phones and they can see fantastic imagery moving, And they're kind of, I think people are kind of, especially younger people, are kind of deadened to it. They don't, imagery doesn't really mean much to them. But that was fucking badass back in the 80s if you see a dude fucking think another dude to death where it fucking caused his head to blow up. That was some imagery. I never thought of that. And I'd seen a dude's head blow up and you're like, oh, whoa, and you didn't forget it.
Like
Michael Ironside blew that dude's head up.
Like in the first 5 minutes of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Kablam!
Bam!
I love that.
And then they're using mental powers and stuff. And it was just a crazy idea, but it was compelling. You didn't forget it. And then a Brood, same way. So, of course, his dad kind of had, in some ways, I think, a little bit of an easier mission because the public wasn't as jaded,
Yeah.
And not as many things existed. So now, you're not going to be able to, like, I don't think you'll never be able to top that in my mind because I saw that when I was a little kid and it made an impression on me.
And there wasn't anything else like
to compete with it back then.
Like now it's so hard to stand out because we've talked about this before because of the internet and pretty much anybody with a connection can like create something and upload it, so there's so much stuff.
And my opinions of Cronenberg's old movies back in the 80s were based upon my reactions to it then.
Yeah.
I'm remembering the way I felt back then.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way it is. I can go back and watch a lot of those movies. They still stand up. I don't know if a younger person could see them for the first time and see the same things in them. They seemingly can do that with like Predator 1 and T1. They can because they're just so elemental, so simple, those stories. I don't know how. I had to go look on YouTube and seeing young people.
Yeah, I'd be kind of interested.
Reactions to things like Scanners.
Yeah.
And The Brood. To see what they think about it. Sometimes young people see it and they just instantly get it. They go, oh, yeah, that's some creepy shit. Some younger people look at it and go, oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on the person.
Depends on the person, yeah.
But, and we've talked about this a lot because that's kind of like an interesting thing to me, like the context of the time. It does seem like a lot of horror movies, though, a lot of younger fans will watch like older ones and dig them, and kind of have the same reaction that we had.
I had the same reaction to fucking seeing The Black Cat from Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi back in the 30s, you know what I mean? I think I had maybe a little bit of a better reaction probably than the people back then.
Yeah.
I saw it. I thought that was a fucking bizarre flick, a really good flick that talking about necrophilia and fucking stealing people's fucking wives and daughters and Satanism and torture and it's all right there. It's just it's not really spelled out. You just have to go, okay, I know what he's talking about. Yeah, he's keeping these dead women in these fucking coffins because it keeps them beautiful. He's got to be having sex with them. It must be why, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but kind of coming at you
they didn't
sideways.
say that, but that's probably what it is, you know. And I would think people in the 30s, maybe a lot of people in the 30s, maybe that didn't cross their minds that he was having sex with
Because they weren't big perverts like me.
Well,
I don't know.
They couldn't take that leap, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't as a kid. I didn't when I saw it as a lot younger. I didn't realize that.
Right.
But later, as I got a little bit older, I was like, wait a minute. Those are probably sex dolls.
Yeah.
You know, no, we know now, studying these serial killers, these fucking dudes digging up dead people and shit.
Yeah, people get all kind of interesting ideas.
Yeah.
Like, well, never thought of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Subjective Perspective Collective says, hey, y'all, I love every Cronenberg film. Can't say the same for Carpenter, Romero, Hooper, and Craven. That's true.
Yeah.
I do kind of feel like, as much as I love all of those directors, yeah, some of them did have a couple of stinkers in there.
Yeah.
But Cronenberg, every single Cronenberg movie, and I might have seen them all. Now that I'm thinking about it, every single one has been good and worth watching.
I don't think Carpenter made all those movies. I think some of those really stink bombs, I don't think he made. I don't think he made fucking Ghosts of Mars. I think somebody else made that.
I kind of want to watch that again, even though I remember really not liking it.
Man, that was going like, there was nothing Carpenter-ish about that. I was going, I don't think Carpenter made this. If he did, he just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, he's just like, whatever.
After they fucked him over with the thing, he started to be like, fuck it.
Yeah, he was a little bitter about that. But I can't say I blame him, to be honest, because that's a fucking brilliant movie.
Although fucking Christine was after, and that was great.
I feel like people don't talk about that one enough.
Yeah.
I really, really like it.
It's a really good Carpenter flick.
And I think people don't talk about it all that
Then
much.
there are good fake Carpenter flicks like VHW. Or,
VFW.
VFW.
Yeah.
That Carpenter had nothing to do with that, but that fucking feels like a Carpenter movie.
Well, yeah, it's definitely homaging.
Yeah.
Him. Like, particularly Assault on Precinct 13 is what they're homaging.
Even the fucking score sounds like Carpenter.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the thing. I just kind of feel like I'm into, I was into David Cronenberg, and I really like the fact that his son is continuing. It's interesting because Oscar just said that he thought that that this was too similar to Crimes of the Future, like too similar in tone. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I don't know if it was similar enough to. And honestly, and this might be a controversial opinion. I'm not entirely sure. I think I liked this better than Crimes of the Future.
Crimes of the Future had weird special effects though, and body stuff happening growing.
That's true.
They're different.
This one has body horror, but not in the same way.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is more psychological. It does have some fucked up like violence and shit like that. And I'm not saying that like somebody getting their head beaten in repeatedly, someone getting stabbed repeatedly.
Throats cut.
Yeah, throats cut, stuff like that. So it does have like gore, and it is kind of graphic. This is also pretty. Well, I don't know if I'd call it sexually graphic, but it does have some scenes in it that. Now, I think the version that we watched, which is on Hulu, I think a few scenes were trimmed out of that, like to get an R, because originally the movie was rated NC-17. I'm pretty sure that if you rent it on YouTube, you can rent the uncut one. I think all they took out was, I think there was like a cum shot, like a penis, like jerking, because there's a hand job scene, basically. And I think they showed like part of it, and it was kind of like implied, and then like they kind of show, but they don't show the semen coming out of the dick. But I think in the uncut version they do. At least that's what I heard. This also has like a lot of real psychedelic imagery, because there's this drug that it's, I guess is fictional, but you kind of like put it in a bowl and you sniff it, and it gives you all these crazy like fucking hallucinations and stuff. So there's like a lot of hallucinatory orgy type of stuff going on in this too. So there is kind of like more body horror stuff like David Cronenberg, but it's not exactly the same. It's not like the same thing as like, oh, I have a vagina in my stomach. You know what I mean? It's not quite that. It's more like, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's maybe more like David Cronenberg's newer stuff, but it's also its own thing. I think Brandon Cronenberg is going more, whereas David Cronenberg's, I feel like his are more clinical, whereas I think Brandon Cronenberg's are more lurid and more like psychedelic. You know what I mean? A little bit. Because I think Possessor had a lot of that kind of acid trippy imagery in it too. And Antiviral did too, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while since I've seen that. But so it's definitely a different thing. And can we talk about fucking...
Zach says he likes the Harry Potter glasses.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
I got those for.
Yeah, I thought they kind of went with this wig.
Yeah, they're like
I mean?
little 30s fucking goofy girl glass. Fucking.
So you're telling me I look goofy?
Yeah, what do you call them? Little nerds. Little nerdy girl.
Nerd.
Yeah. It's cool though. They're cute.
That's okay. I can be a nerd.
Yeah. Little retro nerdy glasses.
But yeah, Mia Goth is great in this. I kind of feel like she's been getting a lot of the attention. Well, shit, man. Mia Goth, I don't think until I saw this movie, because she's English, right? And I didn't realize, I think I knew she was English, but I didn't really think about it. Because every other movie I've seen her in, she was playing an American. You know, I saw her in X, and she played an American in that. And then she was in Pearl also, which I still haven't seen yet. I need to see that. And she was also in A Cure for Wellness. It wasn't like a huge part. That was back in 2016. But I don't think that I've seen her with her real voice. So I was kind of like weirded out. I was like, oh my God, that's must be her real voice and like what she talks like. Man, she is kind of terrifying in this. She's really kind of over the top. I really respect though that she picks these fucking weird ass roles. I mean, maybe she's like a super freak in real life, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
That's what I kind of, and like all the people in the horror community are just like all about it. She's like the new horror scream queen, because she is like in some fucking, she'll be in just the craziest fucking horror movies, and she seems to like really get into it. But yeah, she is this is a great role for her. She's just like fucking, she goes for it, man. There's just like all kind of, like I said, I loved her in X as well. And everybody says that I need to see Pearl, which is like the prequel to X. You would probably like X too, but I can't remember what streaming platform it's on. I watched it and I don't think I paid for it, so it's probably on there. So you would probably like it. Like I said, it's a slasher, but it's set back in the 70s. And it's like all of these people that they're going to go film a porno, like back in the 70s, and then like somebody starts killing all of them. But it's really good. Like it has like this really cool like retro look to it and everything, and it's super, super violent, like super gory. I was like really into it. Zach says the first thing I saw Mia Goth in was that Lars von Trier movie. Lars von Trier, whatever his name is. Nymphomaniac, where she pisses on Shia LaBeouf. See, that's what I mean. That was like I think that was her first big movie. I don't know if it was her first movie, but that was like the first one that she got attention for, and I still haven't seen that. Yeah, she's married to Shia LaBeouf, and they're both nuts.
Yeah. Yeah,
she definitely does come across as like somebody, but like I said, I like that she picks these out there roles, and you know, I don't know, I just really like that about her. She really does seem like she'd be a super freak in real life, you know what I mean? And she's definitely a super freak in this movie, because of like that whole hand job scene. I was like, oh, okay, we're going this way now. Okay. And you know, it was just kind of like a whole weird situation. And I just loved Alexander Skarsgård's fucking face. Like when it started happening, he just like had no idea what to do. Like he's just fucking standing there going, holy shit, what the fuck is happening right now? It's just like he didn't try to stop it, or nothing. He was just kind of, I don't know. It was just like a weird fucking scene. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much about it, but it's really hard to talk about this movie without talking about what it's about. Although I will say that I'm glad that I went into it. Basically, all I knew about the movie was that it was Brandon Cronenberg and who was in it. That's it. Like, I didn't read the plot synopsis. I did nothing. I just saw that it came up on Hulu, and I was like, oh yeah, shit, I've been wanting to see that. And I'm like, I'm just going to watch it. I didn't read the description or anything. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I had no idea what it was about, and I had no idea where it was going, and I really like that, you know? I really like to kind of approach movies like that if I can possibly do it. Like, I try not to read too much about them, because I like to kind of be surprised, you know what I mean? And this one definitely surprised me, because I had no idea what was going to happen. It says, Sebastian, Shivers is first, but if you love Cronenberg, you'll dig it. Yeah. Oh, Zach says, and I think she sucks on Charlotte Gainsbourg's tits, too. Oh, okay. I just heard about that movie today. I mean, I'd heard of it before, but then I'd forgotten that she was in it. Nymphomaniac, I'm talking about. And it's like, oh, well, now I might have to see that. You know what I mean? Because that sounds kind of good. That seems kind of good. Subjective Perspective Collective says, I definitely can see the difference between Brandon and David. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if each of them made a movie and, like, they showed it to people and polled everybody about which one was which. I could probably tell, but I'm not entirely sure because their styles are very similar, but different enough that I think you'd be able to tell the difference, like, if you did it now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know. But like I said, I did actually kind of like, I got more into this one than I did Crimes of the Future. I really liked Crimes of the Future, don't get me wrong, but I think I liked this one a little bit more. This one just, like, sucked me right in, and I was just kind of, like, just riveted, like, the whole time, like, what the fuck is going on right now? You know what I mean?
Crimes of the Future is more intense, if you ask me, though. It's more physical.
Yeah, that's true.
More fucking
It's different.
horror,
It's, like,
sci-fi.
hard to compare them, I guess. Right. But the thing about it, the Wikipedia page says that Infinity Pool made more money its opening weekend than Crimes of the Future made its whole theatrical run. You know what I mean? I mean, it didn't make a huge amount of money. Means. It was just like $2.7 million. Yeah. But I mean, that's a lot for a movie like this. Yeah. I don't know how much it costs to make. It didn't look cheap though, to be honest. No. And the cinematography was gorgeous, like where they shot this. But like, I was just like watching it, and like some of the shots were just like beautiful. You know what I mean? And it's like fucked up as well. I don't know. Zach says, oh, about Nymphomaniac. Careful, it's like 4.5 hours of soul-crushingness, because Lars von Trier, well, yeah, that's kind of his whole MO. I get it. I've seen some of his movies. They are very soul-crushing. Zach said because only he could make a movie that long about a sex addict MILF. Is it super, super depressing? Like Dancer in the Dark, or what was that other one? Dogville? Did you see that? You didn't see that.
I don't like depressing movies.
Yeah, I don't think you'd like a lot of his movies then. They're like not only depressing, you're just like, I think I'm going to kill myself now. Yeah, it's kind of like that. But you know what I mean? I don't know. I kind of dig them sometimes, but I have to be in the right mood. You know what I'm saying? All right. So I guess we'll kind of wrap it up. Unless you wanted to talk about something else.
Nah, that's good though.
You don't want to talk about something else?
Nah.
All right. So tomorrow is Monday. And if you live in the United States, it's the 4th of July Eve. So I actually have Tuesday off, which is pretty nice. Yeah. Which means that tomorrow night when we do a Haunting Mondays, I can actually like have some drinks and maybe even get drunk and not worry about getting up the next day.
Why did they even bother calling you to work Monday?
That's what I kind of want. I was like, why didn't they just give us like a 4-day weekend? I don't know. But you know what I mean? Maybe some places did, but I don't get one. So I got to go to work tomorrow, but I don't have to go Tuesday. So yeah, so tomorrow night, we're going to do Haunting Mondays. We've already watched the episode. I already took notes on it, everything like that. So we're doing The Haunted Victorian, which is season 6, episode 4. I think it was the last episode of season 6. And the house that is at the center of this episode is actually quite famous, so there is like some outside info about it. Not a lot, but you know what I mean, because it's been like on a bunch of the paranormal
Subjective,
shows.
Want to ask a question?
Want to ask something about Infinity Pool, but definitely don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. Yeah, I wonder if anybody's gonna. That's what I mean. It's like so hard to talk about movies. See, I mean, maybe not everybody's like me. Like maybe some people actually will go and watch reviews before they go see a movie, but see, I never do that.
What's the question?
Yeah, maybe you could like ask it in a way that's not. I don't know. I don't know what the question is, so I don't know how difficult that would be. But it's like, yeah, sometimes I'll watch reviews after just to see, like I said, what other people's perspective on it were, or if I'm doing research about it or something like that. But I never watch reviews before I see the movie because that seems kind of pointless to me. Because like I got to see it, you know what I mean? If I want to see it, I'm gonna go see it. I don't care what other people think about it. Only afterward. But yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Like, if you want to ask, or if you want to ask me, then either ask in the chat, or you can like ask and you can message me or something like that. And we'll talk about it because I do kind of feel like I don't know. I saw some reviewers that said they didn't really get it, or they were like, "Oh, well, we didn't know if there was like some deeper meaning to it or something." I'm like, "Well, there was, but and it's to be honest, it seemed pretty straightforward." So I don't really know. It wasn't like the kind of movie where it's like, oh my god, what the fuck just happened? Like, it seemed pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it was easy to understand.
Like, I thought it was easy to understand. Like, there was like some symbolism in there that could be interpreted in a couple different ways, but not really. I thought it was like pretty cut and dried. You know what I mean?
He's asked the question.
Oh, do you think the clones could have been switched? Yeah, like that was another possibility, and I'm kind of glad that they left that open because you never really knew if the James that you were following through the movie, like, was that the original James or was that a different? And somebody mentioned, I think Camp Guy up there like mentioned the Prestige, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of like the same kind of thing where you keep making copies of yourself, and you're just kind of like, well, at what point are you the copy, or is like, you know, who's the original person? You know what I mean? They're like, there's no way of knowing. And so in this movie, they just leave it ambiguous. You're like, you don't know if that's the same James that you started out with, or if they switched them. You know what I mean? Which is another kind of fucked up layer to it. And that's kind
might
of
have been the clones doing that, making more clones.
Right. So that was another like intriguing possibility. So I'm glad they
go back and watch it, and it might be something like The Thing, where you don't know who the Thing is.
Right.
You wouldn't know when was the original person switched.
Right.
You might be able to find that in that movie if it does that.
Yeah. And I mean, this one, he very deliberately leaves it. So, I mean, when James wakes up, like after the cloning process or whatever, it's like you don't know if that was the James that you started with or if that was the one that they made. You know what I mean? There's no way of knowing. And so I think the ambiguity about that is like what really like makes it good, because you're just sitting there going, well, wait, is that even the original guy, or what does that even mean?
Could be that they lied to him. They don't kill the clone. They kill the original and replace you with the clone.
That's what I mean. So that's like another layer of like, right.
You see, well, the clone's innocent.
Right.
But the other guy did it, so he did pay for it.
Yeah.
Might be some shit like that.
Because that seems like that would make more sense to me.
Right.
That they'd be like, they'll tell you, yeah, man, you know, it's
if you have the money,
right,
the clone can die. No, you'll die, and we'll replace, and the clone will take your place. That'd probably make more sense.
And no one will be the wiser.
Yeah. But then the clones come out fucked up like psychos, because they're not perfect. So you just keep doing that over and over again. That might be what it means.
Yeah, it's like they keep making copies of these miscreants, and like they just get worse and worse. Like they're just like, yeah, let's go do some crimes. You know what I mean? And then they get more and more fucked up, like as they keep watching the clones getting executed.
And that might be, they're watching their clones get executed, but they're clones of clones of clones, and they get worse. That might be what it is.
They're like bad Xerox copies. Like after a while,
that could be what it is.
That makes more sense to me, because I know that like I saw a couple of different reviews where they were like discussing that, where they were talking about, well, there's no way of knowing like whether that was the original guy, and like the more I think about it, the more I think that you're right, that probably that wasn't the original guy, but but they kind of leave that ambiguous, and I think that was a good decision, because then it'll just make you wonder like the whole time, was it just the cloning process that like made these people go like that? Because there's like a whole bunch of people that, like I said, that go to this island and like commit all these crimes because they know they'll get away with it, and it's like, are these even the original people that started out with? Maybe not. Maybe they're just clones and clones. He said glad they left it unanswered. Yeah, me too. I think it's always better to like not over explain stuff. And like I said, this movie was straightforward enough on its own, but I like that it left like all these lingering questions. You know what I mean? So yeah, all right. So I guess we're gonna wrap it up for today, and like I said, be sure to come by tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to do a Haunting Mondays. We're doing the Haunted Victorian, which from season 6, so hopefully you guys can come and join us for that. So have a good rest of your weekend, you guys, and we'll see you again tomorrow night. Good night.